All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to take a look at the sector today, and I should have time to cover most of the usual ones. I will say I think SNDL might be the best setup of the group right now. All right, so that's actually the one that I'm the most excited to talk about. Tilray you see on the screen actually looks very mirrored to ACB. Did I click the right thing? Cool. Yeah, ACB. You can kind of see that same uptrend right there with that little interesting doji today. CGC is looking a little rough to say the least, and that's a little disappointing right there. I think this might just be coming off the bad earnings. That was kind of what happened right here, but a little weird to see that outlier right there. And then I talked about it. Let me just show it. SNDL is trying to break all the moving averages. It's over our resistance line. That's a nice MACD and RSI. All it needs is a little bit of volume. So this one is looking real nice right here. And then HITI. Listen, I feel like a broken record. I hate earnings, all right? I hate it especially on a moment like this where you get good I know you're an educated human. You're trying to watch this, you're trying to better yourself. I'm an educated human. I'm trying to make these, I'm trying to better myself. I see the same good you see, and for no reason at all, we get this really weird big red candle, really weird big red volume, right? So I saw earnings per share break. I saw revenue beats break. I saw them bring up the store counts and like the new membership thing, and I saw it all. I have no idea why we're not at the golden line and we're right back under a moving average, let alone blah, blah, blah. Get into all that, right? But man, I say it on blue chips. I say it on penny stocks. I say it on everything in between. Earnings are crazy. They really, really are. And High Tide, for what feels like the billionth time in a row, drops good earnings and gets a red candle. Ridiculous, right? But excited to talk about all this and more for sure. But before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So before we do get into the technicals and do all the normal stuff I know you're here for, let's come to the fireplace really quickly. Look, this is where I'm just giving you my simple thoughts and opinions, right? I don't have a lot of data behind these. It's just the things floating around in my head, right? So please never hesitate to disagree, give me a different opinion, this, that, and those, right? Everyone's perspective is equal here. You know that, right? So I will start with the most annoying thing, all right? You know I'm not here to talk about who won the debate, who lost the debate, who we're going to vote for, this, that, and those, right? But it is ridiculously embarrassing that we're talking about eating cats and dogs, but we're not talking about this sector. Like, there are billions and billions of dollars in tax revenue that can come from this. That money could be used for schools, for roads, for so much across the nation, right? I don't know the math. We have more places that have voted for recreational, let alone medical, than are completely like. It is silly that this was not covered on live TV, but that's one thing I mentioned, right? Look, those 2 Trump Truth Social posts, they were optimistic, right? But I kept saying it. They needed to talk about it on live TV. There were millions and millions of eyes on that debate. There aren't that many eyes on every single tweet that's posted, right? There's definitely some that get a little more media attention, this, that, and that, right? But oh man, how is there not a single question, a single comment? They were pulling things out of left and out of right, but they didn't even remotely discuss anything about this, right? And trust me, that is wildly, wildly sad. And I think what makes things sadder, I'm not sure there's going to be a second debate. I really was hoping, all right, they didn't do it on this first one. Maybe they'll do it on the second one. That's seemingly not going to happen. We'll see if anything changes, right? The VP debate should still be coming up. I don't think as many people are going to be watching it. I'm probably 50-50. Like, if I don't even know the date of it, truth be told, right? That's how, I don't want to say how much I care about it, but the interest level is completely different, right? Maybe if one of them says something, again, on live TV, on the live debate, right? Maybe that'll stir a little bit, but I think at this point, what we're waiting for is a clear loser. Look, I've been saying it on the Discord. I'm going to say it. There is still no clear cut winner. All right. I live in liberal California. I know a lot of people that don't want to vote for Trump. I am hearing things in the reddest of states where people don't want to vote for, sorry, I said it wrong. California people wanting to vote for Trump, red states wanting to, like, there is such a divide in normal places. There's such a, it's a really tight race, right? We need a clear loser so that someone starts swinging some home runs. This might be that home run sector, right? And my goodness, I'll get to the charts shortly. We need some technical help and a good political headline. Oh my goodness, right? Like that is coal on the fire train. You know what I mean, right? So disappointed in the debate was all the point of that, all right? Tilray, and I'll get to it when I get to the technicals, but I'll flash it really quickly. There were a couple headlines I saw that I didn't quite understand, all right? I'm going to flash this first one, which looks like a little bit of offering rumblings. That's the first one I'm seeing. It's this one down here. And then there's another one right here about some promissory notes, but it's part of this acquisition of a brewery. You can see on the heels of acquisition was the end of the line right there. I literally wrote it right here, and then that's what I Googled. So again, I'm not here pretending to be the smartest person. I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I don't really understand those headlines, and I didn't take the time to read it. There are two things I'm going to say, all right? I love acquisitions. That's how medium companies become big companies, how small companies become medium ones, and how big ones stay big. Acquisitions are good. There's always challenges and this and that, right? But hey, that's what they pay these people to figure out. And being the company that acquires is good. Tilray has an important foot in the brewery game. Vices never die, all right? I haven't said that in a good while, but I don't care if there's a recession. I don't care what happens. I'm gonna find a way to find some money to make my vices happen. You know what I mean, right? And knock on wood, you do everything responsibly and all that. But with Tilray, I don't mind if they get headlines with brewery stuff, with liquor stuff, with alcohol stuff, with beer stuff, anything in between, spirits, whatever, right? It's still all good for the weed sector, right? Tilray is still an important ticker for this. So I like the acquisition thing. For the offering thing, and again, I didn't see it mentioned too many places. I don't mind offerings. Offerings are all in the details. I want to know what the offering price was, but I don't care about share count. When we get into the next part, which is going to happen in a couple minutes, right? Like, there is nothing about share count, there's nothing about float, none of that, right? So to me, an offering could be a good thing, because an offering is a way a company gets money without having to take a loan. And I'll be honest, to me, I would rather add shares than add debt at these crazy rates we're at, right? I know we're talking about rate cuts hitting tomorrow, but hey, we are still significantly higher than we were, 3 years ago, right? So yeah, the rate cuts are going to help in this and that, but I don't want a loan on my books. I want clean money. And hey, if you're going to take some shares, Me personally, I'm going to call that clean money. All right. I'm telling you, that's a place where a lot of people disagree. Let me know if you disagree with my offering thoughts. I know a lot of people hate them. I know the market generally reacts negatively immediately to them as well. But I think offering noise goes away much, much quicker than reverse splits and other bad things. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I think that's a good little thing here for the summary. So, please let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, around 9:50, maybe 9:55, as I click. Let's get into the technicals right here, and I'm going to start with Tilray, and I'm actually going to lump ACB in here. They actually both have a similar setup. Let me just kind of show it. You can see the Tilray setup there. You can see kind of the same thing, right? But that same little ACB curve with the doji and all that. So I'm going to focus more on Tilray. You know, I've called this the king, the queen for the ladies watching this. This one is still an important one, all right? So there's some good things happening here. And to me, there are two big things jumping out. Number one is this 162 line held again. All right, this 151, you know what? I'm going to edit it. I want this to be red. This is our death line at the moment. I'm going to do this interesting orange color. I think that's funky right there. Terracotta for my fancy people out there. That's a scary line, this 151. And what has now happened, look at it, right? One big one right there, one big one right there, an interesting ish one right there, two big ones right there, another one right there. This 161 line, 162, whatever, has held since the Kamala Harris pop that oh my gosh, saved the whole sector, right? So my goodness, for a year and that, no, that wasn't the Kamala moment. The Kamala moment happened here on the 160 line. Oh my goodness, that 162 has been a beast for the last year-ish. Look at that. Wow. All right, nice. You can tell the moments where like I'm not pre-recording these or practicing. I definitely missed that right there. That is a monster line, right? So oh my goodness, look at that thing. And you know what? When I looked at the ACB chart real quick, that's a monster moving average, right? So a support that's that deep can be as strong as what I've always said is the biggest, loudest, strongest moving average, right? So they actually both have that same kind of technical setup right there going. I love it. Look at that. What's obviously jumping out to me is the three moving averages. Number one, these individually are very hard. Number two, the 50 and the 100 are, I mean, a penny away from each other, give or take, with the 200 just a few cents above that, right? So this is a very difficult little moment. And I think today's wick really highlights that. Look, there was a nice run all the way up to 188, right? I know it doesn't look like much, but that 8 cents is about a 5% run right there, right? Um, all the way gets smashed right back down. And look, this is definitely a doji to me. This is definitely a lot of uncertainty. Most of the people thought it should go all the way up. Not a lot of a drop. And what I really like is the drop didn't go significantly into yesterday's candle, let alone all the way down here, right? So not the worst of dojis, but again, it's an indecision doji, and we need tomorrow to tell us the truth, all right? I do like this MACD and RSI setup, and I actually am liking this improvement we're seeing on the volume. I think as you zoom out a little bit, this right here is probably the best little moment of volume that we've seen, since the middle of July, right? It's been a little more than, I mean, call it 2 months, right? We're already in the middle of September, right? So this is probably the best moment, the best, 4 days, 5, 6 days, 7 days of the last month and a half, 2 months. So not too shabby right there, right? But I will say it, I'm going to say it one more time. Nothing matters to me until this 203 line breaks. And trust me, I know I've done it on the last videos. I've been trying to lower it. I really can't lower that line. At this point, that 200, you can see it. It's flat. There is no movement on that 200. And unless it starts to head down, that's how much I need for me to start to believe, all right? I for sure don't like that 20 moving average coming down. That's a little bit of a scary downtrend on the 20, okay? The 8 obviously moves about 2 to 3x faster, right? 8, 16, 24, 20's in between that 16 and 24, right? So um, I'm hoping that this nice little uptrend of the 8 will maybe flatten out or correct it. But as it sits, that 20 is a little bit of a scary slope. You know what I mean? So hopefully we don't reject too hard here and get below it. Overall, I think as long as we're over, let's call it 177. I think 177 is probably a good place. As long as we're over 177, I am going to be relatively bullish on Tilray, okay? I'm loving the strength of this 162, but believe me, you can only be so strong so many times. I like the fact that the hits are relatively spaced out, right? Like that was right there. Then we had a little bit of time to catch our breath, re-strengthen. We hit right here, catch our breath, re-strengthen. We've now hit right here. I do not want to come back and hit this again very quickly. That is for sure. Clearly, the goal is break 203 and run up to 220, right? That is obviously what I want, but there's always two sides of the coin, and you got to get ready for both, right? So, I normally would say get over the 20 and I'm sorry the 200. You can see that 190 is that number right there. Personally, man, I look, different risk, different reward tolerances, right? Depending on who you are. For me, going from basically $2 all the way up to 270, that's a beautiful, beautiful 30% move, right? More than 30 actually, 20, 20, 20. We're adding a bunch of 20 cents there, right? For some, they want that extra little bit, and believe me, I've been there, I've done it. I love getting those little extra bits, right? So different risk, different reward, all right? And I think that's the exact same comment for ACB. I know I would normally say, let me see if I can lower this just a little bit. Give me a sec. Can we take that there? I'll take you there. Okay, exact same thoughts on ACB. For me, I would rather wait for 640. From there, it could be a very fast climb into the nines, right? Otherwise, I would hate to reject on this difficult cluster. I for sure do not want to bounce on the 200. But again, just looking at the 200, right? We used it, we cooled, we used it, we cooled, we used it. Don't use it again too quickly. Ideally, break and go, right? Exact same Tilray thought. So, my goodness, 17 minutes. I went way longer on that than I expected. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I'm gonna I think I'm gonna fly through CGC because I'll be honest, there's not too much to like here on CGC. All right, the one thing that might echo off of that Tilray comment was maybe this 450-ish support is a good support. And I'm seeing a couple places for sure. I'm seeing a couple places. I'm seeing a break and a takeoff. I mean, there's a lot of activity happening on this 450 between July and here, right? Not too much after, and definitely nothing that much deeper in the history of the stock. Clearly, we just had a 1 for 10 reverse split, so that kind of messes with a little bit of the history, right? But um, I mean, look, there's a lot of red. That could be a nice little green, right? If this can get over 530, can I lower this line? Yeah, let's lower it. Nope, not that line. I don't know where that was. I think it was around there. I think it was a little bit lower. Whatever, give or take. Let me just put it here. I'm going to put it on the top of that. My apologies. It's this line. Can I lower that line? I don't think so. I cannot. What are you right here? That's way too low. I can't lower that line. So if you can break 530, I think the trade would be from 530 to 580, break 580, and you can maybe make a run all the way to 630. Okay, that's a nice little red, green, good channels in between the moving averages, right? Otherwise, just look at this thing. I mean, I think this is the perfect view. We have been under and under and under and under. And even here, I would still say under both the 8 and the 20. Clearly, the last three candles are over the 8. definitely under the 20, but none of those three are really good enough candles for me to say, yeah, we're over and I feel confident about that, right? So CGC, I started the video with it. I'm going to say it again. This is the scariest of all of them. It really, really is, you know? And there are so many fanboy and fangirl videos out there. They will always say good things on every single day. I'm sure they were saying good things during that downtrend right there, right? So I'm not here to hate. I'm here to raise our criteria because we work hard for our money, and I'm not just going to let some stock steal my hard earned money, all right? I did that back in the day way too much, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I want to look at Sandal before I get into High Tide, all right? I might make a separate High Tide video just because this thing's 19 minutes. I like the setup here. All right. I like the setup here. And it's interesting to me because I've always said SNDL follows Tilray. Right now, SNDL is trying to lead the pack. Right now, and I'll go back, I'm not 100%, but right now, SNDL, I believe, is the only one with the positive MACD and the good RSI divergence. I know I saw a bunch of them with that green over red setup, but let's just flash it real quick. Tilray, negative. What was the next one? ACB, negative. What was after that? CGC, negative. I'm going to look at High Tide next or a separate video. Oh, High Tide's positive, but not as good a divergence on both. I'll for sure say that. And then MSOS I normally cover again. I just don't have time. Negative again. SNDL is our only positive MACD on top of the good divergence on the RSI, right? So I'm loving those two down there. That's a big, big break of 3 moving averages. Not only did huge, there was a bounce on the 20 I wanted to talk about, but yeah, that's not as important as breaking those 3 right there, right? Let alone this good ride of the 8 moving average that I don't want to take away from, right? But breaking 1 moving average, breaking 2 moving averages, that's hard. Breaking 3, I want good confirmation. And I'm a little bit torn with my thoughts because look, this isn't the best of candles. I think I would have needed something just a little bit bigger to feel a little bit better. But I like the fact that we broke resistance. And as I just kind of move my way, clearly this one's the biggest candle to the left. But what were you? We at least got over this thing. This candle on July 15th closes at 220. It's only a penny, but again, we're in the door, not at the door, right? It's freezing outside, not a penny over the line and inside, right? So I like that we're over this candle. I obviously like that we're over the resistance. I just don't know if this is, and I care less about the percent number, right? Like for real, if this thing closed all the way up here, it would have been a little bit, I don't even know if it would have gotten over 4% if we gained a couple extra pennies, right? It's more the scale of the candle, right? I'm glad we're over the line. I wish we were just a little bit more, right? So I'm a little bit torn on what I would call confirmation. I feel like, and yeah, look, literally, this would have been it. If we could have closed a little closer to 225, that probably would have been the better confirmation. But this is telling me we should have a good tomorrow, right? Green over red. 74 is a little high, but it's not 80 yet, right? What were you right here? We hit 81 not that long ago, and we hit even higher not that long ago, right? So I think that there's more in the gas right here. Where's the weekly at? Yeah, this is just this is a good weekly test right now, and so far it's going well. What's the bottom of you? 230. If we can close at, look, because you can see in the box over there, the open was 229. If we can close at $2.30 by Friday, oh man, I think that's going to set up a fantastic next week, all right? We should be seeing rate cuts tomorrow. That should be good. People are actually starting to think we're going to see some big rate cuts. Man, I'm just hoping that he gives us a hint that we're going to see more rate cuts. That's actually what I'm looking for, all right? But I like SNDL. I for sure do. I think 290 is realistic. I think next week 290 is realistic, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.